itself different. Being locally owned and operated since 2006, before the bubble burst of 2008, that says a lot too for our reputation.
Okay, did you see, well, right now we know that interest rate is very, very low. So the housing market is kind of, I think, hopefully exploded. But did you see more people coming into your business?
I did. There's probably I look on Facebook, there's a lot of different broker groups and things like that. So every day there are probably 7 or 8 new broker or mortgage people, whether it be retail or wholesale, coming to the business. I hate to say it, but I was hopeful when COVID came through. At the very first, when they did the state shutdown, the lenders also shut down. They were not doing FHA loans. They increased the credit score requirement. So they were making it very hard for us to do business. And so I thought, okay, well, there's going to be some people who drop out, and as mortgage people, because they can't make money. They're going to have to go get a regular job that gives them a paycheck. But people are still taking their tests and becoming licensed. And, if you get a good mentor that can help you through everything, you'll survive. If not, I think that people last in the business 6 months to a year if they can't get a hold of, a strong grip on what the business is.
Okay. How are you dealing with competition? Like, for instance, in my business, I've had people who have gone to a therapist and they have the same pain that they went in with, or they have the same problem. The thing is that when they come to me, I'm kind of like the last resort. They just came in. In your case, a person can't do a do-over when they've either been screwed over, for want of a better word, when they're doing transaction like yours, can they?
No, I mean, let's say that you buy a house today at, let's say, 2.99%, and next week it drops down to 2%. Well, you could refinance for sure, and, because now you're going to be saving $100 or $150 a month or what have you. The closing cost, sometimes it's just not cost effective. So if you feel you get screwed over because you paid a ton of fees and things like that, 6 months down the road, when the rates are a little bit better, hopefully you can refinance and try to get your closing costs rolled into things. But as far as, if you feel you got screwed over somehow by a mortgage person, there is the, places that you can report a mortgage broker for not doing the right thing. But I hold 3 state licenses, so I always do what's right for the client. It's not what's right for me. It's what their needs and what's right for the client. Okay.
If a person, when a person is new in a profession, their intent may be a couple of things. First of all, it might be trying to get a paycheck, especially I've seen that in the real estate industry. We have so many of them because the commissions supposedly are so high and things like that. You don't, for a person looking like I'm probably considered a first-time buyer, you really kind of don't know who to look for or which direction to go. Like, for instance, I think if I were going to buy a house now, I would actually go with friends, with somebody that I know in the industry. But it doesn't mean that they know what they're doing, or they've been a long time, or what do I look for specifically?
Well, it used to be, before the bubble burst in 2008, that people would get their mortgage taken care of before they sought a realtor. So your mortgage person could guide you to a realtor that helped you and had experience. So now that usually doesn't happen. They go to a realtor first and then get it pre-approved and things like that. But definitely there's a way to look up people online, mortgage brokers and also realtors, see how many deals they've done. There's every month at the Real Estate Association of Manatee and Sarasota, they're graduating about 90 to 100 realtors. Out of those 90 to 100, probably 1%, maybe 10, up to 10% will last in the business. But yeah, you're right. If you haven't done your due diligence, you could end up with someone who hasn't done any deals and has no experience and maybe doesn't walk you through the process the way that they should. So it's always good to have good partners, mortgage people. We have a team of realtors, but I always look up realtors just to see what they've done and their experience.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Very quickly, can you give us maybe 5 tips on what we should look for, be aware of, or consider when getting a mortgage or mortgage broker?
Well, always, look up how long they've been in business. There's a consumer website on the National Mortgage. It's in MLS, so it's National Mortgage License Search, and you can look them up as a consumer to see when they got licensed, who they've worked for. Believe me, mortgage people, we're an open book. That's one tip. I would look up, who am I dealing with? Also, when you sign, like at the very beginning, let's say you're shopping, and so you find somebody you think you like, and they've given you a good rate and fees look good, and you've signed your 30-some pieces of paper saying, yes, I'm going to proceed. That's not a legally binding contract. Until you get to the closing table, you are not closed. Okay, so you can change your mind. If somebody else comes by and they're going to save you $5,000, I'm sorry, most people are dollar driven. So you have to move where necessary. So people think that once they sign the intent to proceed paperwork that they're in a contract. They are not. So always do your due diligence. That's another tip. And, rates are not at zero. I know the feds said they cut rates to zero. That's not interest rates. Those are not mortgage interest rates. So everybody was posting about, the rates are so low, you can get a mortgage at 0%. There's not a bank out there that's going to do mortgages for 0%.
Yeah.
So
I kind of realized that, even though interest rate, one of the things that drive people to go buy a house, first time buy it, most people, and especially if they're single, they don't really think about whether or not, what we look for is we look for how much would my payment be, how little my payment would be, that kind of thing. I think for me, it really would be a scary process. I would want to have somebody with me, and I would also want to have somebody that I can talk to, through the process that is not really connected with actually selling me stuff. I will tell you this, I have a high mistrust, and I'm not sure if, if it's healthy or not, but I have a high mistrust for 3 professions: auto mechanics, insurance salespeople, and real estate agents. Like I said, I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but anyway, we only have a couple minutes left, so we need to kind of wrap up a little bit. So what would be your last, or something that you would give us as business owners to consider, say, a commercial property?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? What would I give you?
Do you deal with commercial property?
I don't, but we do have somebody on our team that does, for financing commercial properties. Yes.
Okay, so if our business owners were looking at the commercial end, what would you recommend to them? And they came to you, what would you recommend to them?
I mean, definitely, if you are a business owner that has to have a retail space or, a space, a brick and mortar, always try to buy the space, because renting, then your overhead can get pretty high. So definitely, at Core Financial, like I said, we do have a commercial department that we can refer over to. I had one for a doctor over the weekend. So, there's plenty of good commercial realtors around that will help solidify the deal. So, just do your due diligence, and just remember, you mentioned auto mechanics. I don't think they're licensed by the state, but insurance agents, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, we're all licensed by the state. So believe me, if we do something wrong, they'll yank our license in a heartbeat.
In my industry, we're licensed by the state of Florida also, but we very rarely do we get somebody filing a lawsuit against us. In fact, our yearly insurance runs like $250 for a professional. The reason being is that as a body worker, massage therapist, people tend to just dismiss. If they got hurt, even, they tend to say, "Oh, well, wouldn't go back to that person. I'll go to somebody else." So,
right.
We don't have a high rate of lawsuits. Not saying that we don't ever, but it's very low for us. But again, with the option for my industry, you could always go to somebody else, because it's not a contractual agreement you have with this person, unless you're contracted with a chain or something, and they give you a different therapist all the time. But in that case, the chain is responsible for covering you. But in any case, I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today, and for giving us tips and ideas that we could use if considering a mortgage and buying a home. I appreciate your time with us today. So thank you for joining us. And we wish you good luck with I don't know if luck is the right word, but we wish you success with your business. And
thank you.
Continue to do what you're doing with respect to your relationship building, because we met through a networking group. And, I've found you to be reliable and somebody that I would go to if I had to get a mortgage. So again, thank you for sharing your time with us today. So,
thank you for having me, Toddy. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, you're welcome. And maybe in the future, when things change, we might be able to connect again to do another session with you. Another
in
episode.
Person.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you again, our listeners, our fans and friends who have been listening. We hope you've enjoyed our episode today, and continue to listen to us. Come back, share your opinions. If you have ideas, if you agree, if you disagree, go ahead and share your information. By the way, Melissa, can you give us your information to contact you?
Yes, it's Core Financial Home Mortgage. On Facebook, I'm at the @ Lilly Loan Officer. My website, www.lillyloanofficer.com. And my phone number, 941-524-7894.
All right. Thank you for that again. And if you want to contact us, the Jadoo Lifestyle Podcast, please contact Society Bites Radio, or you can send me an email at Toddy, Toddy, Jadoo, Jadoo, @gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you, and thanks for listening.